So Formula Sheane time, and David Parks has only been beaten once this year and he's on pole position. Alongside him is Richie Kearney, his closest challenger, then Enda O'Connor, Brian Harty, Robbie Allen, James Sutherland, John Ross Delahunt, Leslie Shaw and Raymond McKenna. Formula Sheanes are away. It's hard to get these off the line. 150 brake horsepower and they've got treaded tyres, so it can be very difficult to launch them. In fact, not so much for Kearney because he takes the lead down the outside of David Parks and blocks the inside line on the way down into the first corner. So we should get plenty of entertainment in this one because David Parks won't take that line down. We're on board now with newbie Raymond McKenna. That's Brian Harty right in front of him. He was on the second row of the grid. He's dropped right back. Brian Harty, the man that has won more races at Mondello than anybody else, somewhere around 150 and 10 championships. But today's not going to be his day. He's dropped right to the back of the field in the Talk to Me car. There he is, the second of those red cars. But right at the front it's Kearney, and already Parks beginning to look a little bit racy behind him, moving to the outside to try and get a better run out onto the international loop. These two guys are both hugely experienced, as is Enda O'Connor there in third place. So the first three go two brains bends, the right and left. Then Robbie Allen in fourth place. Somebody off behind him. That Sutherland's gone around a full 360. That's just tire smoke. Rejoins just ahead of McKenna. McKenna has a look to the inside, but Sunderland just blasts down the outside. They both get turned into the left-hander. So Sunderland right up with the leaders there initially, but that spin has dropped him right to the tail of the field. Leaders again, and here's Parks with a big go down the inside from a length or two back. Kearney just turns in, gets to the apex, says I don't think so, and hangs the tail out just to show David Parks how it's done. Parks knows how it's done. He's won almost every race this season. Both highly experienced, this pair now. Kearney in saloons. He came from Uno's up through Puntos, won the championship, won in the Barts, won in the Phoenix Park, and raced Legends and Shanes, many different cars. Very hard racer, always has the elbows out. And David Parks up through V's from the great Parks family and Vertical Racing, their own team. Bob Parks, of course, very well known to us in Formula V's. The late Bob Parks and his son Robbie and Dave have both been very successful in single-seater racing. Parks is the reigning champion and has done most of the winning this year, and he will really want to get by, so this should be a really good battle. Just to add a little bit of spice to that battle, Enda O'Connor's back out and he's hauled these two in inside this lap. So are we going to get a three-way battle for the lead? It looks like it at the moment. Enda O'Connor, the Wicklow man, another Formula V, has changed up to Formula Sheane many years back and has won the championship and won this Home Patrick Trophy before. But I wonder, has he got the ultimate pace? When those two stay away from each other, they seem to be able to just get away from by a fraction. Another big dummy there being sold by David Parks, but Kearney has it all under control and the two cars moving around quite a lot. This time though, he's got up the inside. Classic Mondello move. All about the traction, but I don't think he's got enough. Almost got alongside them. That would have been job done there, and Kearney's well aware of that. He hugs the pit wall as they go down to start another lap. So Parks this time forced to the outside. Kearney on the inside. O'Connor right with them. Robbie Allen not quite able to get on terms with these guys, but still going very well for a man who hasn't been in one of these cars all year. But the first three absolutely together. It's going to be a proper scrap for this win. Kearney leads, Parks in second place, and right with him is Enda O'Connor. So Parks gets the car turned in, gets on the power. Beautiful stuff. The beauty of Formula Sheane from a spectator's point of view, they've got way more power than they have grip, so you've got to really drive them. They're a handful through turn 2 and through the second bit of the S's on the national track. They move around a lot of wheel spin. As you can see, a lot of opposite lock. The drivers love them. Once they get the hang of driving them, they're very again, we see that beautiful drift from Kearney, matched again by Parks, right out to the edge of it, using every inch of Mondello tarmac. And then hugely committed through this corner. Parks even more so, up over the curbs, gets the run, goes to the outside. We've seen this before though, he comes back to the inside. It's like drifting. Kearney flicks it back to the inside, gets an armful of opposite lock. No you don't, Dave, but David Parks has another go on the exit. Parks trying 3 different moves inside one corner there, but just not working for him. And Kearney with a little bit better traction manages to drag himself back across the right hand side of the track. Parks this time though goes back and they almost touch wheels. They're very late in the brakes. They both go wide. This is great racing. They're giving each other racing room and no more as they head through turn 2 again. Kearney it is from Parks. They're leaving Enda O'Connor behind. Hasn't quite got that bit of pace. But again, another man that hasn't been out much this year. And look at this, Robbie Allen's got a bit of pressure here because charging all the way up through the field is Brian Harty. We expected this from him. You don't see Brian Harty very often at the back. He's come from the back of the grid right up to Robbie Parks now. And Robbie Parks in big trouble because if there's a move around Mondello Park, Brian Harty knows it. And the Talk to Me car closing down the Vertical Racing car now. And these two cars absolutely as one. So a great recovery drive from Brian Harty. The Dundalk Haulier, as we said, has won 10 championships and somewhere around 150 races at Mondello Park. In Formula V and then in Formula Sheane, so he does know his way around this circuit. Kearney on it now inside the final lap, drifts the Sheane out. He's really on top of it, loves the way this car is handling. Look at Parks launching the car for the last lap, having a real go out over the curb. It's all or nothing for David Parks, but there's nothing he can do about Richie Kearney. It looks like the Home Patrick Trophy is going down to Carlo for the winter, and it'll be filled on a number of occasions. Here he comes to take a historic win in Formula Sheane. Hand in the air for Richard Kearney. Great drive to second place by David Parks, and these two well clear of the rest. So Richard Kearney takes the win from David Parks, Enda O'Connor is third, then Robbie Allen, Brian Hardy and Leslie Shaw.
Now I see you shaking out the hands. Some battle between you.
A great battle, yeah, great battle. I was suffering with a bit of understeer, so my arms are killing me, but no, he drove fantastic. Like, I threw everything at him, and I thought I had him around the outside once, but I could make up a bit of time around Bahrain's bends on him. Yeah. But he was pulling away down the country, and yeah, fair play to him. He drove very well. So yeah, great to see Richie get his first win. So yes, yeah, it was a tough battle.
The hands are trembling. I say you put everything you had into that.
Everything and more, everything and more. I've been battling hard and long all season with David. I've raced in a lot of classes, and he's definitely the most fierce competitor I've ever come across. And he's like a terrier. He just never lets go, and never. Once I got the little gap, I got to head down and just tried to keep it and tried to keep it, and we ended up here.